Hi guys, my name is Reece Williams, and since I'm mostly interested in structural engineering, I decided to do my podcast on a topic that could kind of go both ways between structural and transportation engineering, and that would be bridges. Obviously, since this is a transportation engineering class, I'm going to kind of stray away from the structural aspect of bridges and try to stick more with something that has to do with the transportation aspect. Specifically, what I'm going to talk about is steel grate roadway surfaces for bridges. And a bridge that has one of these roadway surfaces would also be known as an open grate bridge. Just so you can kind of get an idea of what an open grate bridge actually is, here is an image of an open grate roadway surface. So as you can see, it's just kind of like basically a big metal grid. Anyway, so first I'm going to talk about some pros of steel grate roadway surfaces and then also some cons. And then I'm going to kind of sum it up by talking about why I think these open grate bridges are actually a good idea in most cases. This website that I'm looking at right here is called impactrecovery.com, and it talks about some advantages and disadvantages of steel grate bridge surfaces. Some of the advantages here, first of all, steel grate surfaces are lighter than other bridge surfaces simply because of all the volume that is subtracted out of the surface. Although they are made of steel and steel is a heavy material, it's still definitely going to be a lot lighter than a solid concrete roadway surface. Another huge advantage of open grate surfaces is that they don't have the same cracking problems that other bridge surfaces do because rain, snow, and ice can't collect on these surfaces like they can on other bridges. And finally, another advantage is that these surfaces are mostly unaffected by wind. So now for some disadvantages of steel grate roadway surfaces. Here they have road salt, which of course is commonly used to melt ice and snow that builds up on roads. They say this because it eventually coats the grates, corroding the metal, and weakening the original welds. Honestly, I do not see why this is a huge problem. I know that with a really heavy snow, you will have some buildup, and you've kind of got to put salt on those and melt it. I get that. But in most cases, you won't even have snow and ice building up on these surfaces, as I stated before. So there's no real reason to put much salt on them at all. I assume that the reason that they get a lot of salt on them is because when they salt the other roads, they leave the salt gates open on the trucks as they're driving across the bridge to the other side. So they're kind of salting it for no reason. So I feel like this is an easy fix. Just close the gates and you'll be good to go. For example, here's a couple of images from queencitydiscovery.blogspot.com. It's less of a factual website, but I'm more interested in the photos. This is the Roebling Bridge in Cincinnati, and this is one of my favorite bridges. But what I want to look at here is, here's a good picture. So as you can see, there's a lot of snow buildup on the road leading up to the bridge, but as soon as you get to the bridge surface, which is in fact a steel grate surface, there is no snow buildup. So even though there's plenty of snow on the road before the bridge, you have no buildup here and therefore no reason to salt the bridge. Another disadvantage that they list is that the car tires never make full contact with the grating, simply because it doesn't have as much surface area as a concrete surface. Braking will be harder. The braking distance will be longer, and which could create more accidents, especially rear-ending accidents. Now, this could definitely be the case on a dry day, but let's say on a day where all the other roads are covered in snow and ice, except for this steel grate bridge. Obviously, since it's impossible to get good braking on snow and ice because of the lack of friction, this bridge will prove to be beneficial and end up actually having the reverse effect and a shorter braking distance than the other roadway surfaces. Third bullet here I'm going to come back to. First of all, another disadvantage that they state is that lane markings are difficult to see on an open grade bridge due to the decreased surface area. This, as it says, this can be overcome by installing raised channeling devices or something like bridge hazard markers, so something like this. So if you have trouble seeing like these center lines, then simply put these down the center of the bridge and that should take care of the problem. So this third bullet here that it gives is steel grate bridges are unfriendly to both foot and bike traffic, as the incident in Seattle proves, which the incident they're talking about is a bicyclist was riding on an open grate bridge, tried to turn left, ended up getting his bike wheel stuck in one of the open grates and had a terrible accident, crushed his helmet, and gave him nerve damage. So, yes, this can definitely be a problem with pedestrians or people or even walking pets on open grates, something like this. But this is probably one of the most ridiculous disadvantages that I see because, okay, just because the roadway surface is an open grate doesn't mean that the sidewalks have to be. So install sidewalks, bike lanes, something that are concrete or some other surface besides an open grate. As you can see on the Roebling Bridge, this is exactly what they did. You can see the actual roadway surface is still the open grate style, and on the sides where bicyclists and pedestrians are supposed to be directed, they have actually put some kind of, I think they actually put steel plates down on top of the grates and then asphalt. So in closing, since steel grate roadway surfaces can give bridges a lot of benefits, and also since their disadvantages can in many cases be easily fixed, I would say that in most cases, open grate bridges are as good as, if not better than, concrete surfaces. So thank you guys for listening, and I look forward to hearing all of your podcasts.